Let's start in the same division where the main event will take place, the featherweight division, where we're going to see rising contender Juan Carlos Ranchero Ramirez fighting against a young man who is a senior in high school at San Bernardino High School, Fernando Velardez. And Ramirez, as you see, is 3 years older, but light years older in terms of legitimate ring experience. 1 inch taller. They're equal in reach. They both weighed in at or within a pound of the featherweight limit of 126. And as you can see, Ramirez has put on 12 pounds unofficially between the weigh-in yesterday and entering the ring tonight. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Juan Carlos Ranchero Ramirez Fernando Velardez fight is scheduled for 10 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule.
I had Fernando.
Only the referee can stop the fight, and you cannot be saved by the bell at any round, including the 10th and final round. Jim.
All right, thank you very much, Harold. And both fighters are already in the ring. So now with Larry Merchant, let's get a closer look at the favorite in the bout, Juan Carlos Ramirez.
We saw Ramirez on the undercard of a Hassim fight last year in London. His biggest event so far was a loss as a sub to Eric Morales in 9 rounds. Eric Morales, the outstanding featherweight champion. He comes from the extreme, almost third world poverty of Juarez, Mexico, where he was raised in a cardboard shack. And now he has enough money to open a business as well as to breed gamecocks, just like our own Roy Jones.
That's right, Roy. You're sitting upstairs. We're going to arrange a conversation for you and Ramirez later so you can compare fighting cock notes across the ring. Incidentally, you talked about substituting, Larry. Here's a last-minute sub here. Steve Dotsie of Africa was supposed to be fighting against Ramirez. He dropped out earlier this week. On comes young Fernando Velardez. A closer look.
This is his 22nd fight, and yet he is still in high school. But he comes from a family of fighters, 4 brothers. His father trains and manages and was a fighter. His father's father and his father's grandfather. 4 generations of fighters. And as an other oddity, this is the 3rd fighter named Ramirez that he has fought in a row, Jim.
Of course. So now let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the MGM Grand Hotel and Casino, the City of Entertainment, Las Vegas, Nevada, where tonight Prince Promotions, in association with Let's Get It On Promotions and the MGM Grand, are proud to present an evening of professional boxing for your entertainment. All the bouts are sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. For safety and medical attention, the 4 physicians assigned to ringside are Dr. James Game, Dr. Margaret Goodman, Dr. William Berliner, and Dr. Jeff Davidson. The timekeepers at the bell and counting for the knockdown seconds will be Jane Broadfoot and Mike Lachella. The 3 judges scoring this first bout on the 10-point must system at ringside: Cindy Barton, Bill Graham, and Paul Smith. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, your referee, Kenny Bayless. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 10 rounds of boxing in the featherweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black, trimmed with white. He weighed in at 126 pounds. His professional record, 16 victories, including 3 KOs, with 4 losses and 1 draw. He comes to us from San Bernardino, California. He is the pride of Mount Vernon. Here is Bobby Boy Velardez. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing burgundy and gold and weighing in at 127 pounds. 23 victories in his professional career, including 10 by knockout with 3 losses. Damas y caballeros, de Juarez, Mexico, el ranchero Juan Carlos Ramirez.
Okay, gentlemen, we know the rules in the dressing room. I want to caution be my commands at all times, and keep the fight clean at all times. Good luck to both of you. Touch up.
Ramirez is a world-class fighter, not a top 10 fighter, but a world-class fighter. We don't know about the youngster he's fighting, Velardez.
And incidentally, small graphic error here. Don't be misled. Ranchero Ramirez's record is not 23-0, it's 23-3, including the 9th round stoppage against Marco Antonio Barrera that Larry pointed out during the closer look. Ramirez fights like he lives. He has weathered extreme poverty and deprivation to get to this point of his life. Often in his bouts, he starts slowly, seems to fall behind in the early rounds, but he's relentless. He keeps coming. He has enormous stamina. He throws a lot of punches in the late rounds. Right hand over the top by Ranchero Ramirez.
Ramirez has got to establish himself because he looks like a boy. He is a boy, really. You got to make certain that the veteran respects you. So don't give him any room to get his strategy all prepared. Good right hand to the body.
Good right hand to the body by Bobby Boy Velardez, the 20-year-old high school senior from San Bernardino. And now Ramirez tries to come back to the body to make the retaliatory statement, but Velardez, defensive fighter, sticks his elbow down there and blocks the shot. 16 wins, 4 losses, and a draw for Velardez in his 21 fights. Only 3 KOs. He's mostly a defensive fighter, and his father says he'll be there at the end. Nobody in our family ever gets tired.
This is asking a lot of a young boy at that age to get in the ring with a guy of this kind of experience, world renowned. He's traveled, getting knockouts even in other countries.
Yeah, we've seen Ramirez fight in London against the excellent Steve Robinson. He's been in, and against Barrera. So Ramirez has seen top-class opposition. Hard left hand up top by Ramirez. Velardez steps forward and tries to throw back. And a hard right hand by Velardez lands.
And when you're young and even landing a lot of hard shots like
Velardez.
Velardez is doing, you still got to be thinking, hey, I'm over my head because this guy's been there, done that.
Yeah, but with his fighting background, George, coming from a long history through his family, this kid just thinks he belongs in there, I think.
Well, his background is not in a city, it's not in a state where young guys do these kind of things.
Well, you're right. It is a step up in class, if not 2 classes.
And he's getting hit with a lot of lead right hands. Velardez doesn't have much head movement, and Ramirez is just tracking with the right hand and firing it up the gut and landing it.
And the youngsters got to get in there and land a lot of body shots to make sure this veteran, if the fight goes beyond 7 rounds, he's as weak as the inexperienced fighter is.
Instead, Velardez has spent the first round trying to match Ramirez's shots upstairs instead of investing in the body. And as we go to the corners where they speak Spanish, our interpreter is the brilliant Ray Torres.
Juan Carlos, usa tu izquierda.
You got to use your left, your left and lateral movement. Feint him. When he comes in, then hit him. Then you put the right and lateral movement. You got to do a real straight right hand.
Después de esa que sigue, el swing y contragolpe fuerte. Come down, left uppercut right. Come down, right uppercut hook. Hook to the body, hook to the head. He has a slow jab. Over the top, left uppercut, over the top. Take your breath. You okay?
Here's Velardez trying to trade with the experienced Ramirez, leaving himself open too many times in that round, costing him the round with all of those lead right hands that Ramirez landed.
Velardez threw 91 punches by CompuBox estimation in round number 1 to 59 for Ranchero Ramirez. Ramirez landed at a more accurate rate. Harold Letterman, as you see, scored the round for the veteran fighter. And you heard Velardez's dad saying to him, you ought to be able to counter his jab. It's slow.
And that's exactly what Ramirez is doing to him. He takes 2 jabs, let them get out of the way, then he steps back and go on top of it with his right hand.
Break! Double uppercut. Haven't seen that too often.
You get a conditioned veteran, it's just hard to discourage them if you're young like that. You got to put some leather on them, and you got to hurt them early. Hurt them.
Well, he hasn't been discouraged by some really good fighters, George. Ramirez is a tough hombre.
Break! Step back.
Green gloves. 3 weeks after St. Patrick's Day, we get green gloves.
Good body shot by Bobby Boy.
Bobby Boy's totally willing, huh?
Break! Step back. Step back.
Trained by his father, and as Larry pointed out before the fight, his grandfather was a fighter, his great-grandfather was a fighter, 4 of his brothers are fighters.
And nobody picks a fight with him in high school.
Break! Step back.
Got some veteran smarts. You see him pound away to Ramirez's body when Ramirez gets in close.
Break!
Ramirez is starting a pattern of going on top over on the left side of Bobby Boy's face. Let me tell you, you go 4 or 5 rounds of that and your balance is truly off.
Break! Step back. Hold it. Step back.
Drops his left hand a little bit, Bobby Boy does, and Ramirez hits him right on top of it.
This time Ramirez starts with the right uppercut.
Break! Step back.
Good jab to the body by Ramirez. Has that punishing right hand again on top.
Break! Let him up. Let him go.
3 right-hand shots by Velardez. Not a lot of snap on those punches, but he's digging, working, trying to counter everything Ramirez comes with. Good body shot by Ramirez there with the right hand.
Ramirez is showing he has a lot of skill for the first time. Not taking a lot of punishment, just taking shots.
Hard right hand again by Ramirez. And this time Velardez not throwing back as Ramirez chases him into the corner to end round 2.
Catch your breath. Okay? Catch it. Okay. He can't hit you. Okay. This is the 3rd round. You're out looking for 10. Okay? 1-2, 1-2.
Él no le queda otra opción.
He's got no option but to fight you at close quarters. He's a fighter that can't do that much. So you need to do it. Throw your right hand, and when he swings, throw it at it. But don't, careful with the right hand. Feint him. You can always use lateral movement on him. Don't just stand there.
The end of the round, a low blow by Ramirez. A warning after the bell from the referee.
Young referee Kenny Bayless moving up toward bigger assignments here in Nevada, where the referee rotation is fluid right now after the retirement of Richard Steele, and not too terribly long before that, the death of young Mitch Halpern. Through round 2, jab is a dirty word in this fight. Of 66 total punches connected, only 9 of them are jabs.
Ramirez going instinctively and constantly on that overhand right. It's going to pay off if this fight continues to go longer and longer. The good thing about the Bobby Boy, he's gone to the body enough now to slow this veteran down for the latter round. May not be able to beat him, but he will not be strong enough to drop him hard.
Oh, big right hand by Velardez. Topples Ranchero Ramirez over on his back. What a moment for the young high schooler from San Bernardino.
7, 8. Okay, okay.
I believe what may have happened there is he started to anticipate that right hand, George, and he's getting under it, and he came over the left.
What happened is he just looked at this kid and decided, hey, I'm not going to bring my hands back in position.
Break.
Overconfident. got to respect him even if they're 18. He's a professional fighter. That's what happened.
Well, and young Velardez has shown from the beginning that he wanted to counter everything Ramirez did.
Right.
So as Ramirez cocked to throw another right hand, Velardez was right there that time.
And how calm and collected he is. Going right back.
Now a big left hook upstairs. And Fernando Velardez is getting himself into position for a potential huge upset.
6, 7.
3 knockdown rule is not in effect with a minute to go in round 3.
Let's see how the high schooler handles it, whether he's poised enough to deal with it. Ramirez is dazed. That's why he went into a clinch.
You got to be careful now if you're Bobby Boy. Don't rush it. Let it all redevelop like it did in the first knockdown. Don't get too over anxious. You reach in and that veteran will get you.
This is a stunning turn of events for a young fighter who came in on extremely short notice, basically just a few days to prepare for the fight. 16 previous wins in 21 bouts, but only 3 by knockout, not a power puncher, and he has put veteran Ranchero Ramirez down twice here in the 3rd round.
He's got the veteran shaking his hand. That means he can't see that well. Whenever you see the fighter throwing their hands back and forward, they're trying to bluff you like they can't see.
Round 3 coming to a close. Ramirez buying just a little bit more time there. Is going to make it out of the round and will get quite a talking to in his corner.
That's a warning. After the bell.
Let's get some water. Give me some water. What happened? Pour some water on him. What happened? You're playing around. You can't. Don't underestimate him. He's got 2 hands.
Well, maybe this will get him an A in gym with this right hand as he knocks Ramirez down, coming out of a clinch. His second knockdown later in the round with a left hand that started it, and a second one that completed the knockdown.
So now they go to round 4. Fight is scheduled for 10. Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim, now remember, boxing is scored on what we call the 10-point must system. I have it in rounds, 2 rounds to 1 for Ranchero Ramirez, but on points, which is what counts, 28-27 Velardez. He gets 2 extra points for the 2 knockdowns, so he gets a 10-7 round in the 3rd. Velardez is actually ahead in the fight, 28 points to 27. Ranchero Ramirez by rounds 2 to 1.
All right, here we go. Time in.
Well, Ramirez did what he should not have done. Let that veteran get, that youngster get his confidence.
Step back.
You get a little kid with some confidence and he's got that enthusiasm, you're going to have a fight on your hand.
Ramirez got sloppy. Got sloppy in round 3.
Remember, the kid was losing his confidence just a little bit behind those overhand rights.
Let him up. Watch your heads, fellas. Watch your heads. Watch your heads.
This could become one of those great preliminary crowd pleasers, as the number of landed punches begins to mount and the contact comes more freely.
Bobby Boy is going to the body too. Although he's had the knockdowns, he's concentrated his effort right back down to the body. Ramirez is getting really aggressive. That's what you want to do. Jump on this kid. Don't let him get his confidence level up any more than what it already is.
Bobby Boy's dad, Armando Velardez, has been a single father for these last 9 years. He says that boxing was utterly critical to keeping his 5 sons out of gangs, off drugs, out of trouble in tough San Bernardino.
Says he's a housekeeper. Isn't that a wonderful thing?
It was beautiful. It really was.
Hold it. Let him go. Stop.
We asked him how he's gotten by financially, raising his children by himself and servicing them every day as a boxing trainer and keeping house and being the Mr. Mom of the household. And he said, I'm not really sure, but we've made it somehow. Big left hand by Ramirez in close. Ramirez beginning to hold with the right hand and hit with the left.
That's the second or third time that Ramirez has landed a low blow.
Okay. Up. Okay? Timing.
Bobby Boy steps to the side real good, like a veteran.
Ramirez has been depending too much on the right hand, which was effective early in the fight, George.
All right.
You okay? Take deep breaths. Take deep breaths. Take that breath. Take that breath. Take the breath. Okay? Take deep breaths, son. Okay. Breathe right down. Okay? Breathe in. Breathe in. Breathe in. Breathe in. Okay. Looking good, baby. Looking good. You got it in the bag, but they'll give it to him if you don't keep it up. Go around. You gotta pick it up. Okay. And 5. Yeah. Push it 2.
Okay. All right. You understand? Watch the shoulders.
Hey,
tell him.
Ey, no lo pushes, Juan Carlos.
Don't push him. Just come out with lateral movement. If he ties you up, move around and punch hard.
Another look at another low blow right there. The referee seemed to miss it. I don't know how. He was looking directly at it. What we've seen already about Velardez is that he is extremely well schooled, George. He, on his own, he adjusted to those right hands, those right hand leads. He's gone to the body. He may not be good enough to beat this veteran, but he's made a terrific account of himself so far.
I heard Charles Barkley say once on television, when you see a shooter hitting all of his shots, you can't do anything else, foul him. And that's what Ramirez is doing. Can't do anything else, so he's starting to foul. That'll change a lot of things.
Well, after 26 fights and having come up literally from the gutters of small town Mexico, Ramirez has seen everything.
There's some blood somewhere.
Yeah, because there was a brush of blood on the cheek of Ramirez, and I'm not sure where it came from. In case you have just decided to pay attention to this one, after 4 rounds, a big upset brewing. Last-minute throw-in. High school senior Fernando Bobby Boy Velardez, unknown from San Bernardino, California, fighting veteran Juan Carlos Ranchero Ramirez, who's been in with some of the biggest names in the featherweight division. In round 3, Velardez floored Ramirez twice, and now in round 5, they are knocking each other around the ring in what has become a pitched battle. I think the blood is behind the hairline somewhere.
Yeah, it's on the head of Ramirez.
That Ramirez is fighting like a fighting machine.
Yep, and he's throwing low blows again. And Kenny Bayless once again stops the action.
What is Bayless doing?
To recover.
All right.
Now there's a disqualification. I mean, there's a penalty, I should say.
1 point low. I've warned you. Keep them up and stop the rough stuff. Stay there. We're getting 5 minutes.
Well, there you have it. So now Ramirez has been knocked down twice, and a point has been deducted for low blows. And Harold has already pointed out the implications of all this for the scoring, meaning that even though Harold felt Ramirez won the first 2 rounds, and Velardez has had some other difficulties, he should be comfortably ahead on the scorecards.
Not necessarily, Jim. If the other rounds have all gone to Ramirez, it could be an even fight after this round, depending on how this round is scored.
Well, in round 4, by CompuBox numbers, Velardez had a 23-10 edge and connects. There's the low blow right there.
You know, you got a young fighter like this, being roughed up, been fouled like that. Maybe a good opportunity for the corner to say, hey, forget this one. Let's see what the judge is going to do afterwards. I'd pull my boy out.
You would?
I would pull him out.
Well, Armando Velardez is about 25 feet away from his son and not at this moment communicating with him.
You got 1 minute, okay?
Harold if that happened right now, if he couldn't go on, would we revert to the scorecards in the 5th round or not?
Larry, if he can't go on after 5-minute rest, he loses. You lose by abandonment. He gets 5 minutes on an accidental low blow. The rest, then they say that protective cup is supposed to protect him. If he can't continue, he loses by abandonment.
Keep him up.
Well, that's not a good rule, if that, in fact, it is a rule. Because this boy is going to be affected by those shots. It's not like a body shot where you're in condition to recoup. You can't recoup from down there.
Well, at the present rate, you have to expect that the next low blow from Ramirez will bring another point deduction, and then one more after that, a disqualification. We'll see if Bayless follows that procedure.
Ramirez is getting a little wild.
That's his strength now, to just get wild.
Yeah, but if the youngster could stay cool, he's going to find an open target.
And
just
hits
like
him
that.
with another big counter left hand inside, and stays cool, as Larry said. And right there is the 3rd knockdown of the fight.
7.
And what that means, Jim, if nothing else happens in this round, it's another 3-point round for the youngster because of the point deduction.
It was another little left hand inside, as again Ramirez was overcommitting to the right hand.
Break, stop punching, stop.
No better said if the youngster stays cool. Larry Merchant said if the youngster stays cool, he can do it.
And then just at that moment on cue.
There you go.
There's another big round for young Bobby Boy Velardez.
I got it. No es nada de eso, ¿eh? Respira.
Come on, take a deep breath.
¿Eh? ¿No ves?
Tranquilo.
What? Be calm. Let me work.
Compa, ahí está en el suelo tirado. Déjame trabajar.
Let me work. Don't worry.
Hablarle.
Come on.
Hey, con tu guardia arriba, Juan Carlos.
You
Tienes
gotta
que
keep your hands up.
Ya lo tenías, te
You
echaste
had
a
him.
perder todo ahora. Listo. Entra golpeando con potencia, Juan Carlos.
All right, this is the low blow that resulted in a point deduction and a nearly 5-minute rest for the youngster. And there you saw the left hand as Ramirez has been getting wilder as a professional, try to intimidate the youngster.
Round 6, and as this round begins, I'm sticking to my story, Larry. Velardez should be comfortably ahead on the scorecard.
Well, it's not easy to win a fight in which you've been knocked down 3 times and the other guy hasn't been knocked down at all, but it's conceivable on the scoring system if he wins all the rest of the rounds.
Yes, absolutely. From here forward, that's possible. But as of this moment, I think any scorecard that doesn't have Velardez ahead by a few points is off base.
Well, I have him ahead by 2.
Harold has him ahead by 5.
Oh, no. Hurry. Let him up.
Now we're seeing the Bobby Boy's left jab a little more this round.
Stop.
He can pull it out and start jabbing a little bit. He can make this fight easier for himself because Ramirez is just running into everything he throws.
Stop.
He doesn't exactly have a sizzling jab. He just needs to throw it, huh?
Yeah, but if his opponent is running right into it to make it substance.
Ramirez may not be interested in getting too wild anymore after getting knocked down 3 times.
This is the time to be careful.
Ramirez ought to quit trying to intimidate the kid in front of him and go back to his business and fight because he needs to win the rest of the rounds.
But when you get in the ring and the other guy is so much faster, has so much energy, you got to do something. Stay on him, throw a lot of shots, anything can happen.
There is now a cut
over the left eye.
Over the left eye of Ramirez in addition to his other problems.
And there's another sharp left hand on the chin by Velardez.
You don't expect an 18-year-old boy to have that kind of stamina. You just don't expect it. And they moving to Ramirez's right. That's smart.
Stop.
Why,
I mean,
George?
to his left. I mean, he's moving to Ramirez's left because that eye, you can't see over there anymore. Just stay over there and you're out of harm's way.